...2011 Ultimate Builder Custom Bike Show in Daytona Beach, Florida. We're talking to Chris Richardson from LA Speed Shop. He's brought us a second freestyle class bike, and this is actually a customer's bike that customer has let Chris bring in for the show. So let's talk about that, Chris.
This was a good guy. His name was Craig McMillan. He's a good friend of mine. He's from New Mexico. He had came out to California for a trip and went into Harley Davidson, and some of the guys at Harley Davidson in Glendale I'm friends with. So they turned him towards me, and he came in, and I've been friends with him ever since. I've built 2 bikes for him. He loves the way I do things. He loves my style. And it's actually great because he basically lets me do what I want. He might have a little input on paint, but he just says, hey, I love what you do, just do what you like to do. It's not too often that you get customers like that. Customers always want to have an input, which is good, but it's nice whenever you have free reign to do what you want.
Yeah, most builders would love to have a customer like that.
Oh, yeah, definitely, definitely.
Let's start from the beginning. What was your inspiration on this?
My inspiration was like a dirt track style mixed with a little bit of board track skinniness and things like that. I wanted to mix that, and this is what basically came out with a wild paint job, though.
What were you trying to accomplish with this build?
I was trying to accomplish something different than what anybody else was doing. It's kind of like a broken record on a lot of these bikes. Everybody does the same thing over and over and over. I wanted to change it up and do something different than anybody else is. So, and this is what turned out on the bike whenever I was finished.
Let's talk about the fabrication. Let's start at the front end.
The front end is a H&H of Hollywood front end. It was a lot longer. I shortened it up to make the stance a lot lower. The front wheel is a 21, laced onto a star hub. The handlebars and the top tree I made custom, they're all one. The gas tank is a Sportster style gas tank that I cut up and narrowed and retunneled. The motor is an original 1953 panhead motor that a buddy of mine, Matt Griffith, had rebuilt for me. The main controls I made with Anderson pegs. The tranny is a stock 1953 4-speed transmission. The frame has not been modified. The seat pan was made, and then my buddy Pascal at Riff Raff Leather does all my seats. He does an excellent job on leather. He's ranked pretty high up there. The rear fender is a bait style round fender. It's a 5-inch fender. The sissy bar I made. The pipes are Paco pipes.
What about the rear rim?
Oh, the rear rim is a 19-inch front rim also that's laced up to a star hub.
And what about the brake?
It's a rear mechanical brake. It's stock rear mechanical. It's a foot clutch with a jockey shift.
And no front brake?
And no front brakes. I never put any front brakes on any of my bikes.
Now, you said that was a, did you say that was a stock 53 panhead?
Yes.
Or it was a panhead, but not stock?
80 cubic inch panhead, 1953.
So basically it's just been freshened up then?
Yeah, just rebuilt. It's just been rebuilt.
Let's talk about paint.
My painter again, Casey at Headcase Custom Art, did an excellent job along with Danny D. He's out of Covina, excellent pinstriper. He's really known for his lowrider paint jobs and pinstriping. And Danny D actually pinstriped some of it, and then Casey actually finished pinstriping the rest. But it is, let's start with the front end. The front end is a micro flake silver with a green candy and a lime green pinstripe all down the front of the Springer. And then as you come along the gas tank or the frame, actually, you can see the frame is shaded darker, so it has highlights of dark green through the frame at the end, at the neck, at the bottom of the castings, and then also at the top of the tank in the front. And then you have the microflake green panels with the light green is lace. It's all like woman's lace in there, along with the lime green and black pinstripe. The frame is a microflake with a green candy, and also this pattern follows onto the back fender as the gas tank.
What companies were instrumental in getting your bike finished?
Custom Chrome, Headcase Custom Art, Berto at Mobile Custom Wiring, Matt Griffith, and Pascal at Riff Raff Leather. They all played a big part on getting all my bikes done. They always did.
Who would you like to thank on this bike?
I would like to thank Craig McMillan. I'd like to thank Berto. I'd like to thank Casey, Pascal, Matt. I'd even like to thank my parents. They drove cross country to get these bikes out here. So I'd really like to thank them.
If somebody'd like to get a hold of you, Chris, how would they do that?
You can get a hold of me at either Chris at LA Speed Shop or laspeedshop.com.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
And I'm going to bring up Mr. Tony Nicosia. Come on up, Tony. Harley Davidson obviously has been the basis for custom motorcycles for years. In 1971, Willie G recognized what was going on in the custom marketplace. They came out with the Super Glide. They took their big bike, put some pegs on, put a Sportster front end, changed the seat, did all kinds of stuff, you know. And they've always been the basis of custom building. Interesting story, when I first met Tony, you know, we also write the newsletter and everything for the AMD. And I come from the aftermarket. I've had a builder, aftermarket company, so in one of the letters, we had S&S as a sponsor of ours, so I go, yeah, S&S, they're the premier builders of motors, and da-da-da-da-da, and put that in. Well, next thing I know, I get this email from some guy, Tony Nicosia. I go, what's this all about? Tony says, hey, Harley's got a pretty neat program too. We got a new engine that we just developed. So I said, I stand corrected, Tony. And ever since then, we've kept in touch. We've been good friends. And I'd like to give Tony the mic here for a couple minutes so he can tell us a little bit about Harley's involvement in racing and custom motorcycles and some of their new programs. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate you coming down.
Thanks, Bob. Again, my name is Tony Nicosia. I manage the Screamin' Eagle product line for Harley Davidson. And I've been riding Harleys since '75, so I'm dating myself a little bit there. But anyhow, I've seen tremendous amount of trends from back then where choppers and chrome and gold plating was king, and then fat tires, and then the black finishes, and then the cutback finishes. It's just amazing. Now we're back to choppers again. But anyhow, my job is like an ideal job that everybody would want, right? But I can tell you, it's very hard and very challenging, but I love it. It's very passionate. It's a great product. And I'm driven because of that to continue to develop great products for our motorcycles. And it's you guys that have this artistic talent to build these very cool bikes from Harley Davidson's. And it's some of the stuff that you guys do that influence a lot of the trends that go on. And it's like some of these things you see with now we're starting to see a lot of brass and copper finishes, and we continue to see a lot of blacked out bikes, and we starting to see these highlighted black finishes on wheels and so forth. So when you think about it, a lot of that you guys started out, and then it moves on to where like Harley Davidson will pick up some of that, and some of the other competitors of ours will pick up on that. So Harley Davidson really wants to sponsor that because they truly believe in some of the things you guys do. So we want to continue to see that trend go on where you guys influence a lot what goes on with Harley Davidson's modifications. So I want to thank again, and then we're going to get out the trophies, right, Bob?
You got it, Tony. We're going to talk about the winner, but what I'd like to do, there's a few people from Harley Davidson here, like I said, and they support us. So I would like all the people from Harley Davidson, if you can come up on the stage, because we're going to have a very special award here. Harley really has stepped up the game. And I'm going to let Tony talk a little bit about it. The first place that we provide is a $6,000 prize. It's a pretty neat deal. But the Harley has stepped up. And Tony, why don't you tell them what you're going to throw in here to make this a little more attractive?
So we're pretty excited about this prize, but first I want to tell you a little background to it. Harley Davidson obviously has a strong tradition in racing, and of course, events like Daytona, we sponsored 3 big racing events. We had last weekend all Harley Davidson drag races, which is really cool because it's all Harleys and there's all different classes. It's a lot of fun to watch them. And then we have the AMA races, which were last night and tonight. And then we have the NHR events, which is over in Gainesville, and we sponsor a team over there, and that's always great to watch. So, with that background, Harley Davidson wanted to offer for first prize a completely assembled Screaming Eagle 120 cubic inch race motor. And it's awesome, and we're very, very excited to offer that.
I think that's stepping up, man. I appreciate the applause and support for that. Tony is personally involved with that project. He's done a great job. As I told you, he made sure I knew where that came from.
That's right.
So, with no further ado, and as proud as I could be, our number 77 entry, Chris Richardson, with his 1953 Panhead, first place modified Harley. Unbelievable. Just a...
Thank you, brother.
All right. This bike represents where it all started. Wonderful that he won. You know, it's the bike that kind of shows the bobbers and where customization began in the market. Really proud to have Chris up here. He came all the way from California, support our show. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Crazy.
I think Chris is shaking a little bit. Yeah. He's a little taken back here.
Yeah, thank you, brother.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Why don't you take a moment here and let the crowd know. I love putting you on the spot here. Here you go.
Oh, wow. I want to thank all the other builders. Everybody's stuff is just great out here. It's a fun show. Came a long way. It was a good time. Thank you guys. Thanks.
Let his talent speak for him. It speaks volumes of the kind of man he is.